here already. And of course, we have put in so much effort for more than for several weeks that we are trying to bring up a paper for presentation and a final communique for the whole program. So without further ado, just as Mr. President has made mention of, we need a representative of all the groups that made up the presentation for the NSIG, where we've actually dissected WSIS +20, and we have breaking it into subtopics for each group to expand and bring informed ruling in relation to what each of these topics entails. So, following the order of things, we will call first on Group A, the first group, Group 1, if they are ready for us to present their readout. Do we have a representative of Group 1? Or
yes, please.
Okay. So, point of note, before the readout, anybody that is making the presentation for the group will introduce himself, give us the topic of presentation, and he will do the readout. Please, we want to structure this in a way that we do not take too much of our time. So we want you to be able to conclude the readout in 5 minutes for each group, please. So if you can take to this, Group 1, over to you with your introduction, your name, and what you finally come up with. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir, our moderator. My name is Samuel Opoku from Lagos. I represent and describe for Group 1. And I would like to present our final conclusion based on the task given to us, which is strengthening multi-stakeholder internet governance in Nigeria, aligned with the WSIS action line C1, C6, and C11. So therefore, please, I distinguish the ladies and gentlemen on the platform, all the digital transformation team. I welcome each and every one of us as I go through our final conclusion. The policy to refer while speaking the national economy policy and strategy. We are looking at the step between 2020 and 2030. The Nigerian Data Protection Act in 2023, the Nigerian Cybersecurity Policy and Strategy in 2021, the Broadband Plan in 2020 to 2025. For example, including Fabali, the rise of fintech innovation versus gap in digital rights, awareness, broadband challenge in rural area. For instance, it is not the same thing, especially in terms of the network facility in the urban area can be compared to the rural area in terms of fragmented data policy across the region. I will present the weak line alignment, that is the C1, the role of government and stakeholder, how to run, how it can be done altogether. Under the line C1, the framework highlights that the multi-stakeholder model is crucial. Nigeria cannot advance digital governance through government action alone. It requires cooperation among the ministries, regulator, civil society, private sector, and the technical community. Nigerian policy can refer aloud like NITDA strategy roadmap that was read in 2021 to 2024. MCC strategy vision plan 2021 to 2025. The ministry can unlock digital opportunity by the time of 2025 and more. Nigerian Startup Act in 2022 as support for the private sector innovation. Note, NIRA, Isoc, and NOG are already examples of technical community engagement. Real Nigerian example to mention is the Galaxy Backbone National Shared Service Center, NITDA's digital literacy program in school, MTN and Elter Community ICT Center, academic research and collaboration like TEF, TET Fund ICT project. When presenting, we define recommendation for each point. It is literally aligned that one, permanent NIGF. Nigeria already hosts an IGF formalized. It is permanent structure strengthening the continuity. Two, mandatory stakeholder consultation. I can refer to NDPB consultation before Data Production Act in 2023. Integrating youth and women, for example, digital Nigerian Skills Center there in ICT programs. Four, further research, for example, TET Fund, ICT research will grant a lot of support, especially if the Nigerian amend the policy to support the stakeholder. Number five, I will mention is digital literacy. For example, NTDA digital literacy for all initiative gaps. Between now and 2030, if it go on well as it's stated, it can move up to from 60% as at now to 95% by 2020. That is what I will be able to present in a brief concerning the C1. Let me move forward. Ladies and gentlemen, C6, creating enabling environment. This section emphasizes infrastructure and policy mechanisms that create an enabling environment. Connectivity, affordability, and transparency must be a national priority. Policy to refer aloud. Nigeria National Broadband Plan in 2020 to 2025 needs to be looked into and make it something, a project that beneficial to the society, not only those that can afford the price, the cost of it. National 5G policy in 2021, NCC Consumer Protection Regulation, National Digital IT and Limits Reform. For example, Lagos to Kano Fiber Backbone, PBPS, the 5G rollout in major cities, it is very, very paramount, and in which, if it can be extended to the rural area, it will be a great support. Not only the urban area will benefit in in some to some extent. The establishment of ICT like IXPN Lagos and Abuja, e-governance interoperability pilot project, data center development, RATA Type 3 and DX Type 3, Tier 3 and TS Tier 5. When recommend this, sir, I'm relating the point to the gaps in Nigeria. For instance, exposing fair broadband pricing. If we look at our broadband today, especially I'm used to MTN and Airtel. If you are to buy 30 gig, no, 30 days of Airtel Unlimited, definitely they are going to put you and I on 24 megabytes per second, in which somebody who pays 60 to 70,000 naira, we have more advantage. We have more advantage like 60 or 70 megabytes per second. If there will be an enforcement that balance this, either you are rich or you are poor, and the regulatory system will make things a little bit better than the way it is at this moment. And also, I would like to mention the consumer production. Data bridges report before the data production. A lot of people are now a lot of people are now bridging the data in term of many are they said that they subsidize it. They are going to sell a data, they're going to sell a data to you instead of for 2 gig for 5,000 that no for 2 gig 3,000 that MTN is selling it. They will tell you that they are selling it for 350 naira, which is not true. By the time you make use of those data, you're going to realize that actually what they said to you is not up to 2 gig. I think it will be better.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sunday. You've actually seriously extended the time allotted, but if you can just round up so that we'll be able to move forward with other groups, please.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Then let me move on to C11, International and Region Cooperation. Nigeria must play a central role in shaping African digital future through global cooperation. And I will believe the policy can revert to participation in ECOWAS, cybersecurity framework, and digital transformation strategy. And also, sir, I would like to how it can be implemented. Implementation, we go where the federal government have to connect with Digital Economy Act in drafting. Mention ID information, SIM card registration, harmonization issue, take the state and the local government, City of Lagos, Smart City Project, and Kaduna, Kano, and Edo digital literacy and municipal Wi-Fi protection like Abuja free Wi-Fi pilot. In conclusion, I would like to conclude that Nigerian as a decisive movement, if we strengthen multi-stakeholder governance, modernize infrastructure, and commit to WIS principle, we will not only be a secure or including digital society, we will lead Africa into a new era of digital information. Thank you very much. My name is Samuel Foku, scribe for the Group 1. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Samuel Ipoku. It's quite a readout and I believe you touched the main areas of the WSIS in relation to multi-stakeholder internet governance and the collaboration need that is required. We will like that you package your submission and send it to the EXCO for their input and further review before we accumulate and integrate all submission together. But
Okay.
thank you very much for the presentation,
Thank you.
Mr. Sunday. And please, going forward, for other presenters, please note the timing. We want to limit this to between 5 and 7 minutes. Mr. Sunday has really encroached on the time up to like 15 minutes for the presentation, but please let everything be packaged within the presentation, summarize it, and make sure that you send everything over to the EXCO platform, to the EXCO mail, so that it can be integrated together for publication. So with this in view, I'll call on the representative of Group 2 who are to give their presentation on ensuring the openness and accessibility of the internet. If Group 2 is ready, if the representative is ready, we can have him or her now.
Good evening, everyone. My name is David, and I'll be representing Groups 2, and I'm the Group's chair for Group 2. Please, I would like the admin permission to share my screen. Okay, thank. Okay, while I wait to share my screen, I would be giving a presentation summary on strengthening Nigeria's internet ecosystem through the WSIS+20 action lines C2 and C20. So I'll be presenting a policy-focused overview on how Nigeria can build on a open, accessible, and interoperable internet ecosystem guided by the WSIS+20 action line, specifically the C2, that is information and communication infrastructure, and C3, access to information and knowledge. So why this matters? The internet has become central to how Nigeria learns, work, govern, and innovate. We have seen progress through the National Broadband Plan and a growing digital economy. Yet, millions of Nigerians, especially in rural communities, still lack affordable and meaningful connectivity. To ensure that every Nigerian benefits from the digital age, our national strategy must align with the WSIS+20 principles. That is openness, interoperability, accessibility, and meaningful digital inclusion. So key challenges are under the C2 action line, we are having infrastructure. Please, if permission given by the host, I could share my screen. Under the C2 action line, we have infrastructure, whereas over half Nigerians still lack reliable access to internet, and we still have broadband costs remains too high for many households in Nigeria. Infrastructure vulnerabilities such as limited fiber routes and outage strengthens resilience. And under the C3 action lines, our key challenges what we noticed is many government tech hubs are inaccessible to persons with special needs or disabilities. We have limited local language content, restricts cultural relevance. We also have regulatory inconsistency and occasional restriction that threatens the open access and public trust. So without interventions, these issues widens inequalities, reduce economic opportunities, and weaken Nigeria's position in the global digital ecosystem. So aligning this with the WSIS+20, our policy objective for Nigeria under the C2 action line, our objective is to expand universal and meaningful connectivity, strengthen ICT infrastructure resilience, keep network open, secure, and interoperable. And under the C3, our objective is to ensure open access to information and uphold net neutrality, improve accessibility, digital literacy, and local content creation, promote inclusive multi-stakeholder digital governance. And our integrated policy action for the WSIS+20 draft, we looked at strengthening infrastructure and bridging the digital divide under C2. So a meaningful internet experience requires availability, affordability, digital skills, and relevant content. So key actions includes expanding rural broadband through public-private partnership, community networks, and infracos, reducing broadband and service costs through fair competition and subsidies, investing in digital literacy program across schools and community hubs, supporting local language and cultural relevant content, and accessibility for persons with disability is essential. And we look at the government to comply with the global accessible standard like the WCAG 21AA, and the public information should be offered in formats such as sign language, audio, simple text, and Brazil. And combating internet fragmentation under the C3 action line. To maintain a global open internet, Nigeria must protect internet openness and avoid shutdown, align policies with global standards from the ICANN, IEE, IGF, IETF, and other global standards. Strengthen international participation in platforms like the WSIS+20, Afrinic, and AFPIP, AFPIF. Improve infrastructure resilience through secure data centers, ISP, and submarine cables protection. And promote net neutrality under open standards under the C3 action line. We also look at a fair, innovative digital economy requires strengthened protection of net neutrality, no blocking, throttling, or paid prioritization. Government adopts of open, royalty-free standard, support for open source solutions in public institutions.
Hello? You can't hear Mr. David again. Or am I hope every other person can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. Can hear you.
So
sir.
okay, so it's Mr. David that is actually out of connection. Okay. I know he has actually pointed out most of the areas of ensuring the accessibility and the openness of internet connection. I know he still has some things to say in relation to promoting the net neutrality and promotion of open standards for integration of connectivity around internet space. But all in all, I believe that is a very structured readout. and we would accept that as the readout for group 2. If for any reason it still comes back online, if he has anything to round up with, he will let us know. But in the meantime, I think we will progress to group 3, and I will use this medium to also request that we make it short and simple. Whoever is presenting, let's make a brief summary of the presentation so that we can round this up in due time. Please, do we have group 3 representative on call? Hello, do we have members of group 3 on this call at all? I believe everyone can hear me. Let me confirm that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Very clear, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
If group 3 is not ready, then I will call on the representative of group 4, if they are ready, to please go ahead with their presentation. So group 3 on
Miss Christabel, can you hear me? Good afternoon. Good evening, sir. I'm the team lead for group 4.
Okay.
But someone will be okay. You want us to pause for group 3 now?
No, not at all. I just want to confirm that you are also ready so that we can go ahead.
Yeah, I'm trying to check. Miss Christabel, are you there? Hello, Miss Christabel, are you there?
She's not ready yet. No, we should give her some time.
Yes. If he is not ready and you can present on the behalf of the group, you may go ahead. Or if not, I may still call on group 5 if they are ready, so that we don't delay the process.
Okay, let me take it up as impromptu. I hope you will take it as it comes, because we were actually banking on her. As earlier mentioned, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. For this record, my name is Olabinke Adeloro, the team lead for group 4. And on behalf of my beautiful group, I will be presenting our focus on building a resilient and secure internet infrastructure. And this is in alignment with WSIS action line C2, C5, and C6. Well, it will interest you to know that our message is very simple. We know quite well as a team that a strong digital economy cannot exist without a resilient, secure, and trusted internet foundation. And you might wonder, why would our topic for discussion this evening so relevant? That's because today, the internet is no longer optional. You and I believe, or you will agree with me, that it is the backbone of education, healthcare, governance, financial system, and economic development. However, many countries, especially in developing regions, still face fragile infrastructure, rising cyber threats, and uneven regulatory environments. And that is why WSIS Actions Line C2, which is talking about infrastructure, C5 talking about security and trust, and C6 talking about enabling environment as central to shaping the future of the internet. Kindly permit me to take these action lines one after the other. Starting with C2, strengthening internet infrastructure. Here, under C2, resilient infrastructure means more than connectivity. It means redundancy, diversity, and local capacity. And our priority as a group include the following, but not limited to them. 1, diverse submarine and terrestrial fiber routes so as to reduce national outages. 2, strong internet exchange points to keep local traffic local and reduce costs. 3, secure and resilient domain name system supported by DNS security extensions. And 4, inclusion on rural and undeserved communities through targeted access policies. Without this foundation, digital transformation remains fragile and unequal. Now, talking about action line 5, which is building confidence and security in ICT. We know that trust is the currency of the digital world. People will only use the internet fully when they feel safe. To improve global trust, we must actively promote 1, adoption of DNSSEC to safeguard the integrity of DNS responses. 2, deployment of RPKI to prevent route hijacks. 3, stronger BGP security practices to reduce accidental and malicious routing incidents. 4, continuous capacity building for network operators and engineers. And maybe you will allow me to do this, add this JARA as we will call it here in Nigeria. Additional resilience measure could include disaster recovery system, real-time threat monitoring, zero trust architecture, and policy cybersecurity awareness. In Nigeria, legal frameworks such as Nigeria Data Protection Act and Cybercrime Act provide strong foundations, but enforcement capacity and public awareness must continue. I hope you agree with me. Now, let's briefly touch on action line 6, enabling environments. Under C6, as a group, we believe that infrastructure and security only succeed when backed by 1, sound regulation, 2, strong institutions, and 3, multi-stakeholder collaboration. So what have we identified as key enablers? They include 1, light touch evidence based on regulation. 2, public-private partnership. 3, sustainable ICT financing model. And 3, technical community participation in policy implementation. Now you might wonder, does my group have case studies to support our argument? Of course, yes. One of them is the West Africa Free Roaming Agreements. Many of us know about the recently announced agreement between Ghana and Burkina Faso when we're talking about free roaming system, a situation whereby these two countries agree that whoever is coming and from wherever, as long as they are coming from either of these countries, you have access to free roaming. Meanwhile, Ghana already has similar free roaming agreements with Togo, Cote d'Ivoire, Benin, and Gambia. These agreements reduce communication boundaries. It promotes cross-border trade and mobility. It improves affordability, it enhances regional connectivity, resilience, and strengthens trust in telecommunication services. No wonder I was very jealous when I visited Ghana and I had to pay so highly on roaming. This model shows how policy harmonizes directly, strengthening infrastructural resilience, and it presents a clear opportunity for Nigeria to explore similar bilateral and ECOWAS level framework. Now, we have not done that in Nigeria, but Nigeria has done so well when it comes to NIRA DNSSEC deployments. This is another strong national example that we have. We are so proud to have our .ng domain. This initiative protects millions of Nigerian internet users from DNS-based attack. It improves national trust and digital services. It supports low-income and newly connected users, and it demonstrates the strength of multi-stakeholder collaboration between regulators, technical communities, and industry. It proves that when policy and technology align, security becomes accessible and inclusive. During the course of our assignment, we identified some key gaps, which include, but not limited to, limited infrastructure funding, low digital literacy in rural communities, skill shortages in cybersecurity, weak enforcement of regulations, and limited regional integration. These key gaps must be addressed urgently if resilience is to be sustainable. What is our policy recommendation? They are simply as follows. 1, government integrates resilience and security into national ICT strategies. Countries promote multi-stakeholder governance in internet decision-making. Private sector operators receive incentives to adopt security standards. 4, regional bodies expand cross-border cooperation like free roaming. 5, capacity building programs be expanded for engineers, regulators, and users. And lastly, marginalized communities be deliberately included in digital security efforts. In conclusion, dear friends, a resilient and secure internet does not happen by accident, you will agree with me. It is built through strong infrastructure, trusted security system, and enabling policies. By aligning fully with WSIS action line C2, C5, and 6, and learning from 1, the Nigerian DNSSEC deployment, and the West African free roaming success, we can build an internet that is secure, inclusive, affordable, and resilient for future generations. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for giving me your ears.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Madam Olabimpe Adeloro. It's been a very wonderful presentation. I was wondering whether if you are in charge of the presentation, what you will have presented will be different from what the original presenter would have done. And I don't think they would have done more than this. Thank you for your presentation and at least keeping to time a bit.
I appreciate your acknowledgement, sir. Thank you. We keep learning.
All right. All right. With the conclusion of that presentation, we'll call on Group 5 presenter if they are on call so that they can make their presentation. Group 5.
Good evening, House. Good evening, everyone. My name is Hayat Abdurrahman, the scribe of Group 5. I would like to share my screen if that will be enabled for us. And our presenter is also here. She's Dr. Wumi Hassan.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you,
Good
Artsy.
evening. You're welcome.
I hope our slide is being shared, but while she's doing that, I think I can begin to speak about what we want to talk about.
Oh, they made you the co-host, Madam. I think it's better to make
If the
scribe.
slide is not, the scribe could be the co-host now, please.
Yes, exactly. So just a moment.
So,
I know the secretariat will change that. You should
Okay,
make
but
IRAT, yes.
Yes.
IRAT should be the co-host and not Wumi-Hassan.
Who is that? Is it Abbas?
No,
Who is the
hello,
person?
but I think while that is going on, I think I can start so that we manage the time.
yes. But make IRAT Abdurrahman the co-host. All right, Madam Wumi-Hassan, you can continue with your presentation.
All right, thank you very much. I'm making a presentation on behalf of Group 5, and our topic is around fostering digital inclusion and empowerment in Nigeria, with a consideration around the WSIS action lines C4, C7, and C8. As introduced, I am Dr. Wumi-Hassan, and I'm representing the NSIG Nigeria Group 5 team. Thank you for having us. Our abstract speaks to the fact that Nigeria has progressed a lot in connectivity, and as you have listened to the previous team group, we could see so much of what has been done. But however, we noticed and we realized that millions of Nigerians still remain digitally illiterate. And this is actually across so many age groups, youth, women, persons with disability, the indigent, the retirees, and senior citizens. And so we want to briefly propose strategies that will align with this WSIS C4, C7, and C8, which is our cardinal consideration, to strengthen how we manage literacy, capacity building in different skill sets, ICT access, and of course, considering how this is communicated effectively. Why are we looking at these matters that I've just mentioned? That justifies our consideration. We need to accelerate inclusion, and it's just not about digital inclusion. It's about skill sets. It's about building capacities and capabilities. So this become very important for us to be able to have meaningful participation in our digital economy, as we have seen in the Renewed Hope agenda, and foster achievement of the SDG goals, several of them that we know is very important for empowerment and capacity building. Our executive summary talks about our strengthening the digital literacy, like I've mentioned. We look at integration of IT or ICT to key sectorial opportunities for all citizens, which span on education, health, agri, business development, even the fiscal policies and economy. Everywhere needs science, need ICT. We want to promote cultural diversities. We want to ensure that stakeholders mapping are very well considered. And this is one of the cardinal areas of the Isoc Internet project, looking at how do we stratify and get the perspective of all stakeholders. By way of introduction, therefore, we are considering Nigeria's digital transformation phases and the gaps that exist, looking at access and affordability, considering devices, how many people have those devices to do what they needed to do in terms of learning, what kind of skills and what level of literacy do we have, what is our local contents, are we actually uploading or we are downloading many times. Then, of course, our language inclusion, very important. We have overemphasized everywhere that these technologies need to be learned in our local languages. And of course, our sectorial integration. How do we ensure that, aside from people just buying computers or buying different devices, we are actually integrating technology into activities of different sectors so that we can see gains across board. And of course, our goal is to ensure that there is impact there is purpose, and then the recommendations are effective in implementation. So as a methodology, we consider a lot of things, and our framework speaks to, number one, assessing the impacts on internet goals, the open source, global connectivity, the secure and trustworthy networks that will enable citizens to learn. We also consider enablers like the affordability, the accessibility, and the local content. And of course, even service provision, because it isn't just for you to have it. The accessibility there is that we have the service providers who are local, who can be there to support whatever issues come. And then the approach is a two-pass method, which include positive and negative impacts, which will be obviously considered in areas of R&D and needs assessment across board. Our key findings, therefore, show that affordability and access is having some strong negativities because across board, even where you think there is a lot of elites, broadband and all of that could still be an issue. So those ones are still negative. We still have capacity building, so negative. Even while we know that over 10 million Nigerians have access to internet, many of them could not do too many things, even with all the devices and gadgets that they have. Local content, well, is strongly considered negative. Like I said, it is not about downloading, it's about uploading. And when we look at most of what we have as content online, we need to begin to ask the question, which sector is doing well in terms of content uploads and which sector needs to do more? So we need to build a lot of capacity. The ICT penetration is strong because of the deployment of so many infrastructure. Like I said, the other team have talked about so much of fiber optics and all the things that government is doing. So we are doing well, but skills is still very, very low, and we need to do more. We realize that most of the computer components we have are imported. So that is why we need to build local capacity and be able to mitigate and negate this. The impact areas that we consider, like we said, we have digital literacy. I'm just going to run through that. And then infrastructure, we have the affordability and then access. And then our second impact area is in ICT applications. In sectorial applications, what is it about the local content, like I said, to be able to help us to achieve positive impacts of the SDGs in different sectors like education, agric, business sectors. I think in the business, or what we call the fintech, Nigeria is rated that we are doing well, but we need to look at it across the health sector. Today we talk about digital health, and in science and technology in terms of local production of infrastructure. So now we have the issues around stratification of perspectives that we feel as instructed and directed by the Isoc. We realize that across Nigeria, our government structure, like USPF, NIPOST, NCC, NITDA, they have tried to pull together a connectivity of relationship so that across board, we are not reinventing wheels. They are working together in partnerships to ensure that to all the local government, to all the ward level, in other words, to the rural communities, we can plan a capacity building that is holistic, that is in tune with a regulated KPI, and then we can work together. And so we realize that in that perspective, government has laid a foundation. We want to build on the foundation by bringing the organized private sector, who obviously have so many things to offer in terms of training, in terms of capacity, in terms of the service provision. So we have the highest speeds within the organized private sector, which are the OPS, and then we can harness them at the different levels where they are so that they can impact their communities And where there are low capacity in some communities, we can build a national strategy that help us to deploy the manpower that is needed to build the capacity. And so with those people and the non-governmental organization, which is another strategic partners in this perspective, and this community-based organization, we realize that the needs of every community member is very different. What the people with disabilities will need as a skill set in terms of capability development is different from those that a normal youth who is agile, able, and a student on campus, for instance, will need. So we decided that there must be a stakeholder mapping and a skill set need assessment so that we can actually know who need what and where should they be given the opportunity to learn. So those skill sets are very important for us. And this skill set is going to be juxtaposed with language issues. That's why we have a recommendation for harnessing all the Nigerian local languages, where we can actually know how to deploy what local level of knowledge, and they get the right interpreters to be trained and to be retrained. And then we realize that there is very important need for us to have training of trainers. This capacity building is not a memory verse, so it's not going to be assumed. You won't say, oh, because I can speak English, so I know IT. It is about understanding what exactly do you know, what do you not know, what do you need to learn. So there is a need for learning and relearning so that we can build enough capabilities that will deploy the right knowledge. If we have people that are good in hardware, we deploy them to the places where the hardware, and if you ask me, if you do a regional mapping, we know that in the southeast of Nigeria, we have a lot of developments, tools among our people who can produce anything. Just like in China, if you enter China today, they can clone you and make you a maquille. The same way our brothers in the East can do a whole lot. So we need to harness those indigenous knowledge so that we can make them useful across the country. And more importantly, when we look at the impact areas that we are looking at, like I've mentioned, the digital literacy, the skill set, the manpower in software, in hardware, and in other kind of technologies, like extra to STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Because the truth of the matter is, for us to be able to do IT properly and give digital knowledge, we need to begin to look at the scientific undertone. So we need a lot of R&D. And that R&D will only be working with our partnership with knowledge institutions across the country. And then as a roundup, we are considering some recommendations that would help us to do effective monitoring and evaluation of what is working, where is it working, how many people are we training, how many people have not been trained, what needs to be done. So the smart KPIs must give us a complete, development plan. And till now, we have had a lot of digital literacy initiatives that ministry, agencies, organizations, NGOs, individuals have been deploying. Can we do a benchmark? Can we have a priority setting? What have we learned? What are people doing more? What areas are we needing those skills? And in our recommendation, we said that we can build a network or a nationwide digital skills ecosystem. We can train the trainers across LGAs and WATs. We can build hubs, digital hubs everywhere, like NITSDA is already doing. If you go anywhere in the state, you see NITSDA representative. Can we scale that to the local level and make sure that there is somewhere for people to learn? Then the local languages are mentioned, that plus the content that must be taught. It is very interesting to realize that in the social media now, you can find any jargons, even people speaking against anybody. But if it's regulated, people will understand what kind of content do you need to upload online. This is very important, and it must be a national advocacy. And I'm sure National Orientation Agency, like we identify, one of our superior partners is a communications people, media. We need to utilize the media to do that. Then we need to include the women, the persons with disability, and the senior citizens. It must be an inclusive thing. Everybody talks to you. And I quite realize that even in Nigeria, a 70-year-old person can be a youth. So obviously it's an inclusive thing, and we need to manage that. And then radio stations like across the country, like I said, communication, we need to utilize them. And we need to collaborate with everybody, Isoc, NGOs, CBOs, government institutions. Nobody is left out. So we must see synergy. As we do our mappings, we will see who is doing what and how do we merge them to partner together and work together. Finally, the recommendations are there in our C7 on infrastructure development. We have identified among us that the ISPs cannot be jettisoned. As we look at the multinationals, we look at those who are emerging locally, and how do we incorporate them to support local rural places and deploy the right technologies that are needed. And like I said, in this recommendation, quite a lot of them, but we know that we can promote local content, we can support indigenous content creators, we can promote safety online, we can promote translation of languages to rural and local areas, we can develop the local and avoid shutdown of any form of policies that will not go well for the capacity building of
Thank
people.
you.
You remember? So finally, as a roundup,
Okay.
all of these recommendations are given in the documents, and our next step is to say we must make this happen. Let the stakeholders come together and implement this. Let's develop costs for it. Let's put together who does what, pilot projects in any state or any community that we can start with across the geopolitical zone. And finally, we want to say Nigeria is a pivotal movement. We need to make skills and capacity building work. Thank you for listening.
All right. Thank you very much, Madam Wumi Hassan, and Madam Hayat too, as she shares. We thank you for the presentation. It's been very detailed and impactful. So, lastly, I will still call on Group 3 if there is any of their representative on call, whether we can still have something from them. Group 3. I don't know if there is anybody from Group 3 here, but if there is no
Hello,
person,
sir. Good
then
evening, sir.
hello, good evening.
Yes, I'm a member of Group 3. I just joined. I in our group on the WhatsApp. The person that is supposed to present is saying he's currently not available. So I don't know whether he has forwarded the resources to the to the coordinator so that it is something we can just read it out so that it's not be as if we are not entirely around.
Well, what we can understand is that you said you've done something, but of course, it probably will not be presented on this call. What we would have generally for all groups is to send in their presentation to the executive, which would be consolidated and form a binding communique from the activity from our activities at the NSIG gathering that we had. But if there is nobody to do the presentation, we just want you to have the honor of presenting it yourself before collating. But if there is nobody, then it should just be sent to the executive and we consolidate everything.
Hello, good evening. Sorry, I'm interrupting.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening. Yes, sir. I think I want to present for Group 3. I'm just joining the meeting. I couldn't join it.
Then you will have to summarize whatever the presentation is in 5 minutes because we are already out of time.
Okay.
Please.
Okay,
yeah.
Sir.
Thank you.
Let me. Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Yusuf Shamsuddin, and I'm the group leader of Group 3. Our group focuses on advancing human rights and trust in the digital age, guided by the WSIS+20 action line C5, C9,